This didn't make any sense to her. How did a melody that she had locked down over the summer, last summer, suddenly appear on Jennifer Lopez's album? This was something that really bothered her.
Listen up, baby. You've probably heard the whispers, how Beyoncé and Jennifer Lopez have muscled other artists out of the spotlight. But here's the real jaw-dropper. Did they actually snatch the career that was meant for Mariah Carey? Not by accident, not by chance, but on purpose, like planned and executed to a T. Allegedly, this whole plot comes straight from Mariah herself. And trust me, this tea is sizzling hot.
I don't know, I love Beyonce, but I have not heard
Mariah just flew in from her own planet, I'm telling you. This is Mariah's.
From my own planet?
Yes.
I did.
Yes, absolutely.
Now grab a seat because this story ain't cute, it's scandalous. Let's be real. Back in the 90s, Mariah wasn't just famous, she was unstoppable. She was topping every chart, penning her own songs, producing her own albums, and crafting her image down to the last sparkle. She wasn't just an artist, she was a boss. And in an industry that practically panicked at the idea of giving women, especially multiracial women of color, that kind of control, Mariah broke every rule in the book. She was the mystery, the glam, the genre-hopping icon who had the pop world in a chokehold. She made the mold that so many others ran with later. That wasn't just talent, that was legacy-level impact. And get this, back in the day, Beyoncé used to rave about Mariah like she was the sun, the moon, and every high note in heaven. Let's keep it 100. Beyoncé is on record saying, Mariah Carey is the reason she even started singing in the first place. We're not talking about her name-dropping Whitney or Aretha back then. No, it was Mariah she looked up to, the blueprint, the icon, and it gets even juicier. Beyoncé actually credited Vision of Love as the moment that lit the fire in her soul to pursue music. That song was her spark. She didn't just say it once and move on. Oh no, if you dig into the archives, you'll find interviews and clips of young Beyoncé looking at Mariah like she was witnessing magic, full-on fangirl mode. The admiration was real. She was mesmerized by Mariah's insane vocal range and her larger-than-life stage presence. But here's where things take a sharp turn. Somewhere along the line, the love just stopped. No more shout-outs, no more praises, just silence. And now, a lot of people are saying Beyoncé might have started seeing herself as above Mariah. Let's be real for a second. Mariah Carey's legacy is legendary, no doubt, but she still doesn't get the same kind of critical flowers that icons like Michael Jackson or Prince get. Yeah, she's known as the vocal queen, but the media's got her stuck in this glittery box, like she's just that extra diva who shows up every December in heels and a Santa suit. They made her into a seasonal meme instead of the powerhouse that she really is. Now, Beyoncé, she's on a whole different mission. She wants to be remembered like MJ or even a female Prince, somebody who didn't just dominate charts but rewrote the entire game on a visual, musical, and cultural level. And if that's the legacy she's chasing, then maybe, just maybe, she didn't want Mariah's influence lingering in her lane, because Mariah doesn't quite fit into that cultural prophet narrative, right? And let's not act like Beyoncé's rise was just about talent. People have talked. Word is, she and her husband might have used their deep industry ties to quietly reshape Mariah's path, all while Beyoncé's star shot straight up. Not saying it was direct sabotage, but those kinds of behind-the-scenes moves, they're real out here. Now let's talk about the other name in this drama, Jennifer Lopez.
There are rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. I mean, my whole thing is singing, writing songs. Yeah, and I've been doing this my whole life. Singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent that I'm grateful for. Her thing is something different.
Around the same time Beyoncé was rising, J.Lo popped up too. No doubt she was stunning and had star power, but let's be honest, vocally, she wasn't even in the same league as Mariah, not even close. Yet somehow, J.Lo got fast-tracked to global superstardom, movies, music, fashion deals, fragrances, and even a Super Bowl halftime show. She was everywhere. Now, while there's no solid proof that Beyoncé had anything to do with J.Lo being used to edge out Mariah, the situation is just way too suspicious to ignore. Here's where it gets real messy. When Mariah was going through that chaotic breakup with music exec Tommy Mottola, she was deep in the middle of working on Glitter. She had locked in a rare sample from Yellow Magic Orchestra's 1978 track Firecracker for her song Loverboy. But guess what? Before she could even drop it, the exact same melody mysteriously showed up on J.Lo's album. Mariah was shocked, like blindsided. How does something like that just happen out of nowhere? Sure, J.Lo had a little heat from her in Living Color days, but let's not act like she was making waves as a singer. Everyone knew she wasn't known for vocals, and Broadway, nah. She couldn't hit those notes or deliver the acting chops to land a real stage role. Now let's get into the real puppet master, Tommy Mottola. He wasn't just Mariah's label boss, he was also her husband at the time, and their marriage was crumbling fast. Mariah wanted out, both from the relationship and from her contract with Sony. But Tommy, he wasn't about to let her walk away that easy. So what did he do? He played dirty. To sabotage her, Tommy took the song Loverboy, which Mariah had already recorded and secured a sample for, and handed it right over to J.Lo. He literally shelved Mariah's version and pushed J.Lo's out first, just like that. And the wildest part, J.Lo knew, and she played her role in the whole setup like a pro. Mariah wasn't clueless either. She knew Tommy was pulling strings behind the scenes. In her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, she straight up said most of what went wrong with Glitter traced back to Tommy. She wrote that he was furious about the divorce and her leaving Sony, and he used all his influence to block her shine. His mission? Make sure Mariah never hit big again after walking away. She said it loud and clear. He wasn't gonna let her or Glitter win. After hearing her new track, using the exact same sample she picked, Sony rushed to throw together a single for another female entertainer on the label, and she said, whom I don't know. You know we gotta talk about the most iconic shade moment in pop culture history. I don't know her. When Mariah was once asked about other female artists, she gave Beyoncé her props, calling her nice and a good writer. But then came the question about Jennifer Lopez, and Mariah hit him with the coldest response in music history. I don't know her, not no comment, not even a fake smile, just, I don't know her. Legendary. That moment lives rent-free in everyone's head. But wait, there's more. In a 2002 appearance on Larry King Live, Larry asked Mariah if there was any drama or tension between her and J.Lo. Mariah didn't even flinch. She said, there's no competition if the other person can't sing. Who? She didn't just close the door, she slammed it. And Mariah kept that same energy when it came to the long-standing rumors that J.Lo doesn't sing her own tracks. In a Talk magazine interview, J.Lo had bragged about getting a full 8 hours of sleep. Mariah clapped back with straight facts, saying, if I had the luxury of not having to sing my own songs, darling, I'd do that too, honey. Now that's a mic drop. Let's rewind to September 2001, when J.Lo dropped I'm Real. It became a major hit and was featured on her second album, J.Lo. But here's the twist. Ashanti came forward and said that song was originally being saved for her. She had no clue why it got snatched away. Turns out, Irv Gotti, who signed Ashanti to Murder Inc., gave the track to J.Lo instead. And get this, the version had already been recorded and mixed with Ashanti's vocals. Allegedly, J.Lo couldn't hit the right notes, so they just left Ashanti's background vocals in there. That's why, even on J.Lo's version, you can still hear Ashanti's voice all over it. But hold up, it goes deeper. I'm Real was apparently meant for Mariah before it ever got near Ashanti. And Irv Gotti himself is on record saying that Tommy Mottola told him to pass the track to J.Lo, just to spite Mariah. They knew Ashanti had too much respect to be part of that shady setup, so they ran it through J.Lo instead.
How did that J.Lo record actually happen? You wrote the song for yourself, or you wrote it for J.Lo?
I wrote it for J.Lo.
And that's not the only song J.Lo allegedly borrowed some shine from. Ashanti also wrote the lyrics, sang the chorus, and added all the ad-libs to another J.Lo hit, Ain't It Funny? By the time J.Lo stepped into the booth, the heavy lifting had already been done. All she had to do was lay down a few vocals, and boom, the track was hers. And believe it or not, J.Lo almost snatched another banger. What's Love? Yup, that hit was nearly stolen right out from under Ashanti too. The tea got spilled by none other than Fat Joe himself. He straight up said the track was originally meant for Ashanti, but there were serious moves behind the scenes to slide it over to J.Lo. And the wildest part, J.Lo knew it was Ashanti's song, and she was cool with taking it anyway. Fat Joe told the story like this. Irv Gotti and Ja Rule called him up at like 3 in the morning, telling him to rush over to the studio. He pulled up around 4 a.m., and they played What's Love for him and said, this is for you and J.Lo. We want the Latinos on this. Just like that. No mention of Ashanti's work, no credit, just a plan to flip it and repackage it with a bigger name. And let's not forget, Ashanti was the one who kept getting pushed aside despite doing all the heavy lifting. She eventually opened up in an interview with Metro UK. admitting it took her over 20 years to speak on how badly she was treated. She made it clear, getting proper credit matters. No matter what industry you're in, people deserve recognition for their work. Giving credit where it's due is more important now than ever, especially in an industry full of smoke and mirrors. Ashanti said it herself. It's been frustrating watching the truth finally start to surface. But over the past couple years, people have started to wake up, and she's feeling grateful that folks are finally seeing what really went down. In that same interview, Ashanti opened up about how it hurt watching artists like J.Lo using her vocals, her voice, and not giving her a single ounce of credit. She said, "It's weird, because obviously you get frustrated for not getting credit or not being properly labeled. But then that turns into something you get admired for. Like imagine doing the work, then watching someone else take the spotlight and all the praise while you're erased from the credits." And let's be honest, Ashanti's not the only one. There's a long list of artists, especially black artists, who J.Lo allegedly lifted from. And Beyonce's name, it's been floated in those same conversations too. But here's where it gets explosive. Word on the street is that Mariah Carey might finally be ready to speak out, for real this time. Like, spill everything level truth. From the Sabotage, to the stolen tracks, to the shady industry moves, and maybe even the quiet roles Beyoncé and J.Lo played in the chaos. If Mariah really spills, we might finally get answers to the questions that have haunted the industry for decades. Was J.Lo knowingly used as a pawn in the glitter takedown? Did Beyoncé really cut ties with Mariah because keeping her close didn't fit the brand anymore? Or was it the industry itself, deciding that Mariah was just too much, too raw, too emotional, too outspoken, too real, and chose to bet on safer, more polished replacements? Woo! Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure. It's gonna be messy. So let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Mariah's ready to expose everything? Was J.Lo in on it? Did Beyoncé step over Mariah to climb higher? And if you're into this kind of tea, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.